Scorpio, welcome to your July 2016 General Tarotscope. It's Rena here, shuffling cards. I'm going to briefly speak, sometimes I go on for 10 minutes with this, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. The transits that are happening in July. So the month begins with the sun in Cancer. Cancer is at a friendly angle. You're both water signs, so it forms a trine. Very nice flow of energy between those two signs. And Cancer happens to be your 9th house. And the 9th house is the house of publishing, higher learning, what else? Foreign travel is a big one. And of course, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it is summer, so we are naturally more inclined to travel, I suppose. But if you do work at the university level, this is the time where you may have off and you may be doing, travel, or you just may be involved with something professionally related to the university. For those of you who are still students, you may be taking certain classes. And this is highlighting that. You do have Venus in this sector as well until the 12th of July. So Venus in the 9th house can indicate falling in love with somebody that is a foreigner. Or maybe while you're traveling, you fall in love. And let's face it, nowadays, with the internet and, the way that we have all these contract work, across the world, people are coming and going, right? So it's easier to, I was going to say have a pen pal. I was going to say have a pen pal. I was being facetious, but it's easier to communicate with people online when you are also possibly capable of seeing them in person with all this global interactions that are happening. But some of you who are old enough may have had a pen pal, and those were like a lot of fun. I, actually think that pen pals are more fun than communicating with people on the internet, because that physical message, even the stamp, everything, it was just like everything has its, wonderful aspect to it, even if it's not the latest and greatest thing, right? Even if it's not like cutting edge. And that's what people make the mistake about, is that they assume that when we increase our technology, we're increasing the worthwhileness, if that's a word, of something. But anyway, that was a tangent. Getting back to the transits. So there's going to be a new moon in your 9th house as well. If you're a writer, you may be wanting to publish, and you can even self-publish if you want. And you can, do that within 24 hours on Amazon. It's just something involving, it could involve religion. The 9th house involves religion or philosophy. So you may be involved with something or want to be doing something along those lines. There's going to be a full moon in Capricorn on the 19th of the month, and Capricorn forms a very nice angle to you. It's a sextile, and it's the 3rd house. So this is the house of your siblings, extended family members, but importantly, the internet and other forms of communication. So you see how the 9th house and the 3rd house have some sort of connection in that sense. Because there may be something that you have been working on that you finish around the time of the full moon. Or maybe it will finally start to kind of pay off for you, some internet venture. Because sometimes the full moon can indicate an increase in that area. So that's pretty cool. And Mars just started going direct at the end of June, and so it's not gone back to Sagittarius yet, which would be your second house. It is currently in your sign. So Mars is one of your rulers, Scorpio. So is Pluto. But Mars is a very aggressive energy. So you may be uncharacteristically aggressive. But I think it's going to be actually good for you in a way, because when Mars was retrograding, it may have felt like you were kind of hamstrung, like you couldn't really do things, or, you know, related to just wanting to promote yourself in some way. Even with your physical routines, maybe you have been wanting to do something to address your physique, and this will help you. You know, the first house can indicate the actual physical body. So this will give you the energy to do something along those lines as well. And so with Venus starting the month in the 9th house, then it goes into your 10th house of career. And this happens, I think it's around, I said it's around the 12th. And Mercury goes there a day later. So if you've been looking for a job, you may hear something close to the mid of the month. And, you know, with Venus there, you really are appealing to a potential employer. And this could also apply if you currently have a job. Maybe you get a promotion and, you know, somehow something you say helps you to kind of gain further prominence. So I'm just let's start with this, because I promised. Oh, wow. 2 major arcanas in a row. I keep knocking my camera. Okay. Well, that was rather embarrassing, Scorpio. So I just rambled on for 18 minutes and started talking about Taurus, which I had just done Taurus's sign. So back to the drawing board. And the overall energy is the 4 of Swords. So this is an energy of you kind of recuperating, you know, recharging your batteries. I really like this card, actually. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, this is just summer, you know, if you don't have to work in the summertime. So I am thinking of those people that work in academia or even in grade schools, and they have the summer off, teachers, some sort of job like that. But I get the feeling that maybe some of you have decided to end jobs. Is that possible? Because the Empress card is in the recent past, and the Empress is all about pleasure and creativity. It can relate to love and fertility. Maybe some of you discovered you're pregnant and decided to rest and take it easy rather than, you know, exerting yourself. But it can also just relate to like pursuing pleasure or pursuing creative pursuits. And so maybe you were at a job that was draining you and you had enough and you decided to quit that job, and now you're just kind of chilling. And in terms of relationships, you may have found out you were pregnant, but maybe you're not with that person, because the 4 of Swords can be kind of a lone energy, not an energy of socializing. Maybe these are characters in your life. The Empress can be a Libra individual. And actually the Swords relates to Libra or the other air signs such as Gemini and Aquarius. So I don't know if there are any of those signs that are playing a role in your life, be it a romantic involvement, or even, related to family members or a job situation. Let me look at the higher perspective. We have the Emperor card, and you see he's holding a sword in his hand, but it's connected to Aries. It's also connected to people that, are in the military or law enforcement, because it's supposed to be the energy of somebody who is very set in their ways when it comes to how they view the world. They have very rigid belief systems. This is right, that is wrong. And Scorpio is one of those signs. I was very good friends at one time with a woman who was a triple Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. And I remember her once saying to me, the world isn't black and white, or life isn't black and white. And it always stuck in the back of my mind. Not because it's such an earth-shatteringly profound statement, but because I did not see that I was like that. But I guess I think I always have been a little bit, self-righteous, let us say. Maybe that's the Sagittarian in me. But I think that this person, he might be self-righteous, and I am assigning gender, whether or not that's the case, but I like to just, not have to always say he or she. So this person might be very rigid in their belief system, and they may be trying to impose it upon you, and you're not having it. Scorpio is an interesting sign. You guys can be very traditional because you are feminine signs. Your, water signs are feminine, as are earth signs. So they tend to be much more family oriented, and no matter what, even if you have a lot of problems with your family, you tend to kind of, want to stick together. Whereas the fire signs and the air signs, they're almost like trying to break away from that because of the fact that it impedes their freedom. So there's a part of you that's traditional, but then there's a part of you that can be very, very apart from conforming to, the so-called ethics or norms of society. Like, you can see the depth of life. You are not a superficial person. So you're not going to be manipulated by those who want to make everything so easily judged. You know that people have motivations for what they do, and so you're not going to just write them off because they have moral failings. You see the motivation behind what they do, and it's usually, when people do things, they're trying to make themselves feel better. They're trying to achieve happiness. The problem is that sometimes they hurt other people in the process. But if we could understand that and have more compassion for the bad choices that people make, and the damage they wreak, and if we could see their ultimate goal was to help themselves and not to hurt other people, I think we'd be a lot better off. But it's very hard to do that, So you see that. So I don't think that you take very kindly to that type of mentality. And maybe you did at one time. Now, this could be an Aries person just in general that you are tangling with. Maybe it's your boss. And the higher perspective is saying, this is creating the burnout situation that needs this. Maybe you haven't directly attributed it to that person. Maybe you just were feeling kind of run down and you didn't know why. And maybe if you are pregnant, you may feel like, okay, this is my partner, but the higher perspective is saying this person is, not compatible with you, is draining your energy, and now you have to kind of relax just to make sure that you're okay in the future. It can just be that you're dealing with the boss from hell, and so you have finally, turned in your pink slip. Can you turn in the pink slip, or do they give it to you? I don't know how that works, but you know what I'm saying. You quit. Take this job and shove it. Okay, so what is crossing you or bubbling beneath the surface, maybe you can't put your finger on it, is the King of Swords. I read this card in reverse because it is a challenge position. And so the King of Swords is somebody, and they could be that Emperor. And the Emperor's holding a sword. So it could be an air sign officially. Could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But it's somebody with those negative or shadow aspects of what an air sign could be like, which would be using words as weapons, being cruel and being very detached about it. A cold cruelty. You know, there's all kinds of cruelty, but it's really quite chilling when a person is able to just be devoid of emotion while they are ripping you to shreds. And they don't even feel like a sense of conscience about it. So, it's right below the Four of Swords. It could be somebody that is draining your energy, an energy vampire, actually. And a lot of them use, manipulations, but to kind of mental mind games to get you sucked into that. So look on YouTube if you don't know about energy vampires. I would think that Scorpio can get, being a water sign. I think Scorpio being a water sign, you do have to really guard your energy because you are very receptive and psychic. So just a little tip there. And then what is in your favor is the Six of Pentacles. Now, I had said that, see, he's doling out the gold coins to those who need it. So this could be you being helped financially. Sometimes it can indicate that you are in the position to help another person financially. But when I had done this erroneously earlier, I was thinking too that some of you may be going through a divorce, and the Emperor may be like a judge, and you're divorcing. You have a child, maybe you already have one, and you're off the market now because you're not interested in dating right now. You're interested in just recuperating from your last ordeal. But it could be that you get some kind of alimony or child support, and because there's the man is holding a scales, it's like the question of balance. Is it fair? And I think that it probably will be, but it's a question of fairness and making sure that your relationships have fairness. Maybe, you know what? This could be too. Let's say your husband is a soldier and he came back from one of the many engagements that America is engaged in. If you're from America or whatever, I don't want to make this into a political statement, but let's say he can't get a job and you're the breadwinner. And he doesn't like that because he's the emperor and he's like traditional, and he thinks men are the breadwinners, and he doesn't feel like a man because you're the one who's bringing in the money, and maybe he's taking care of the kid right now. That could be what's going on, and that is really kind of active in your vibration, so to speak, at the moment. In a work situation, you could be dealing, as I say, with a boss from hell, but you also have to deal with getting what you're worth, and that's where the scales come in. Getting what you deserve, not settling for less. The advice is the Knight of Swords. You're going to have to tell it like you see it. You're going to have to just, and this may be counter your typical strategy, because usually Scorpio likes to keep their cards close to their vest. Usually Scorpio likes to keep their cards close to their vest and not divulge, what move you're making. You guys are consummate chess players, but this is a card of speaking your mind. And regardless of whether or not you're in a current relationship, you may still have to do that for some reason. If you're getting divorced, maybe you're going to be sharing custody with the father of your child. And if that's the case, you have to be able to do that. You can't, allow resentment to creep in and make you spiteful and make you try to play games and use the child as a pawn. That's not right. So this is a card of very straightforward communications. And it's almost like you're on a mission, in a sense, for some reason. And so that's pretty interesting. And the outcome is the Hierophant card. And this is a card of, it can be connected to Taurus. So there might be a Taurus person who figures into things towards the end. And this can also indicate someone who wants to get married. Maybe you were leery of getting married, and this Emperor, maybe he's not a bad guy after all, but he's just traditional, and he wants, especially if you're pregnant, he may say, no, we have to get married. And so you end up deciding to do that. Maybe you take a time out and then you decide that you're going to do that. For people in the work situation, it could just be kind of you going along with what your life philosophy is. If you're an artist and you were in a day job that just didn't resonate with you, you may say, you know what, money isn't worth it. I need to be happy. I need to follow my bliss. And so this gives you that philosophical framework in order to make that decision. It just seems like there's a lot of fertile energy for you in July, Scorpio. There's also a lot of sword energy going around. So maybe you have a lot of ideas kicking around in your head. Not only creative ideas, but ideas of what you would like to accomplish in the future. And you have to navigate with all these characters in your life. But what else is new, right? That's what life is all about. So I hope you enjoyed this, Scorpio. It is a general reading. If you would like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great July. Bye.